Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and in this evening's video, we're going to be going over quite a bit of model guidance as well as current conditions and a discussion of both a winter storm and a severe storm event that we're expecting to see over the next couple of days, getting into closer to this weekend, as well as a huge shift in model guidance for something big to happen on the East Coast sometime later in the future. So we're going to be watching that very closely. We're going to go over all of that in today's video. So like this video if you like it, subscribe if you've not done so already, and please leave a comment down below where you're watching from. It'd be greatly appreciated. I will go ahead and say that I'm making videos now where I do one in the morning. That is the daily weather forecast, so temperatures and moisture across all of the US. So if you're looking for that, if that's something you're interested in, I highly recommend you go and watch those videos. I get them posted a little bit before 9 a.m. each morning Eastern time. So tune into those. But moving on from that, here's the current loop of all our precipitation. You can see, again, quite a bit of energy out west. And also something that we'll be watching closely is the development of this winter storm. As we're speaking here, we're seeing areas of snow in Montana, even down towards Rapid City, South Dakota. Snow, obviously in Canada, and then there's rain out ahead of it. We'll have to watch the evolution of this closely. Then we do have some snow rolling into areas of the northeast. Other than that, pretty quiet, but definitely much more active than it was this morning. So watches, warnings, and advisory. This is just a really, really cluttered map. I know it's really hard to tell what's going on here. Just kind of breaking this down by region here. Out west, a lot of winter-related stuff. Extreme cold warnings to winter weather advisories to winter storm warnings, a whole lot of different things. And as you work your way towards the central areas of the country, anything you see in tan, any shade of tan, is wind related in some way or another. And then these areas in the central areas of the country are all fire related. High wind warning and red flag warnings are in effect, as well as PDS red flag warnings in areas of Nebraska, even down into areas of Kansas. But look at this right here. In areas of Nebraska, we have a red flag warning, PDS, and a winter storm watch that expires in 2 days. So what a shift. But regardless of that, moving your way east, actually, let's move north first. This little stripe of warnings you see up here in the northern areas of the U.S. is all related to this winter storm we're about to see unfold. We do have blizzard warnings in areas of Montana. To expand it a bit, we also do have winter storm warnings up along the northern areas of all of these states, and then winter weather advisories to the south. So it's a real thing. We do have a blizzard warning in the coastal areas of Minnesota as well. And then working our way into the northeast, we do have winter weather advisories that expire tomorrow. Other than that, I was going to say it's pretty quiet. It's really not quiet at all. So other than that, there's all we have. And then looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for this coming Thursday, this is what we got to work with. So you can see that we've got a level 1 out of 5 in this dark green here that goes, it kind of expands out Davenport, Iowa, kind of down towards, I mean, it's hard to tell where the states are here. Areas of Tennessee, Nashville, and then it kind of goes back up towards Columbus, Ohio. And then this area in yellow you see is obviously the higher risk area. That is a 15% risk of any severe weather. That's all we know. We don't know the type breakdown yet, but it includes areas of Indiana, kind of down the Ohio River into areas of Illinois, northern Kentucky. So we will go over this tomorrow, and by then we will have more information on what type of severe weather we will see, but this is the latest. So there will be changes with this. It's possible we upgrade to an enhanced, but I don't see that happening, at least as of tomorrow. So moving on, we're going to start to cover this winter storm. So if you just clicked on this timestamp, I'm going to show you two different models for this winter storm that we're literally seeing start right now. So this is the north central U.S. and this is the European model starting off right now. See an area snow develops, strengthens here, and see a surface low and down near Minneapolis. And you can see just areas of heavy snow to the north, rain mixing in. Very complex, large, expansive system. So hard to name a lot of areas, but you guys that are impacted already have warnings or advisories in place, so please heed those and pay close attention to your local sources, as they will be covering you more than I'm able to in a video like this. But we have that, and that's all we have. So I'm going to show you also a high-resolution version of this, the NAM 3K here. Starting off now, you can see The NAM 3K does more with freezing rain. I think we could see that. There's kind of a transition time to freezing rain as the daytime temperatures cool off as the sun's gone down, and an area of heavy snow develops. Puts the surface low just a bit further south, but you can see areas of purple and pink are a mix, either sleet or freezing rain. Areas of blue are snow. And yeah, it's just a very expansive area of snow. Areas much heavier than others. And I want you see these areas right here along the, I forget what lake this is. I apologize, but the coastal areas of Minnesota here are expected to get quite a lot of snow because you can see these kind of training snow showers. And then we finish this event off by it kind of dying a bit. And then here's a look at the system afterwards. The NAM 3K is just within range of it now. So here's the system after. So I have severe weather along with it. Whole lot of complicated stuff. We're going to go over the severe stuff in just a minute here. So moving on from that, here's what the European ensemble says for snowfall in these areas. So a couple of inches of snow starting in Montana. Obviously, you see other areas, but a couple inches of snow starting in Montana, really increasing as you get into North Dakota. And then again, areas along the coastal areas of Minnesota here could see upwards of maybe 20 inches based on the European ensemble. Very reliable thing to look at, by the way. So huge event. And then you can also see that there's a secondary stripe of snow down here. Areas of Nebraska getting up into Iowa, southern Minnesota, areas of Wisconsin. Well, that's from that second system. So we have several inches on average showing up already. We'll have to see how this changes as we get closer. So here's what they're calling for. The experts are calling for at the National Weather Service, starting in areas further to the west, areas of Montana, 1 to as much as maybe 2 or 3 inches. And then as you get into North Dakota, upwards of 10, maybe even a foot, 10 inches to a foot here in northern North Dakota. Northern Minnesota here, over half a foot of snow. Drops off quickly to the south, though, and you can see also areas in the coastal areas of Minnesota here have a lot of snow forecast. So moving this east just a bit and south, you see the UP of Michigan expecting appreciable snow everywhere, over half a foot in a lot of areas, and the northern areas of lower Michigan also receive quite a bit of snow, and that is all she wrote. So moving on from that, I'm going to be showing you a few different things. This is for the severe event, so if you just clicked on this timestamp, we're going to be going over the upcoming severe event for the slight risk equivalent. So here we go. This is the RRFSA model. We'll change models probably starting tomorrow. I'm just going to show you one model just to make things simple. But this is starting off Thursday afternoon. This is right about lunchtime Eastern time. And you can see something happens. We get closer to, say, 3, 4 p.m. and an area of kind of isolated looking supercells develop in central Illinois, with another area, a cluster of storms in southern Illinois. The exact locations of these is not final. So if you live under one of these storms, do not assume that's what's going to happen. But this is just to get a general idea of what these storms could look like. And this is not a good frame at all. This is getting into like 5 p.m. on Thursday. Peak heating during the day has just passed us, so it's warm, as warm as it's going to get outside. We have a ton of isolated supercells out in this area. This could produce all hazards. I'm kind of concerned about this just from a standpoint of first storm of the season. People their guard is somewhat down for severe weather. So we'll watch this closely. And if it continues to uptrend, please share this type of thing with your family and anyone you know that lives in this area. Because this could be a bad one. I'm not going to overhype it right now, though. We need to get a little closer before we do that. But this area, it kind of splits apart. So you have an area of Illinois getting into lower Michigan where you've got a kind of cluster banding feature of storms, and you have another cluster of storms moving into Indiana, Ohio, kind of along the Ohio River. So they kind of fall apart with the loss of daytime heating. And some of this stuff back here in areas of Minnesota and Michigan here would be snow. We know that already. So we'll focus on that as well starting tomorrow. But yeah, this is a big event, big looking event so far. This could change though. So looking at some of our ingredients, here's the upper level winds. I'm just going to show you this. This is just our flow in the atmosphere. This is what's going to drive these storms. And we're starting out Thursday morning. This is about 3 or 4 miles straight above your head. And this is the wind speed in that layer. You can see how right here, you can see how this gets disrupted in some areas. That's because the storms are literally surpassing this height. So they kind of interrupt the wind. But going back just a few frames here, this is right around storm initiation time. So across this area, right in here where we have this risk, we have adequate flow aloft. Nothing about this is insane. It's not like we have 80 knots or anything. That's reserved for areas further to the south. But with these storms and the southern edges of this risk area, we'll have more shear to work with, as well as better thermodynamics. So even though you don't see as much storm activity form in, let's say, southern areas of Illinois, that doesn't mean that we won't, and that doesn't mean that those couldn't produce something. But yeah, we have adequate flow here. You can kind of tell, it's very subtle, but you can kind of tell that these wind vectors are splitting a bit. So kind of going like that, yeah, there's divergence, defluence over this risk area that induces rising motion. So based on all of this right here, I would say that we have a lot of synoptic scale forcing for ascent, which pretty much means that the atmosphere is primed and ready to go from a wind standpoint. So what about moisture? This is dew points. This is another ingredient we look for starting out Thursday morning. You can see areas in green are getting into the 50s. The darker green is mid 50s, and when it turns blue, that is when we get to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is dew points, like I said. So work our way towards the afternoon. You can see the front here where it switches from very warm air to much drier air. The exact area that I'll be focusing on might change a little bit. This is a little bit too far north, but on this website, the other sector that I have to look at here is a little bit too far south. So I'm just going to look at this. But you can see 60s make their way into, say, again, southern areas of Illinois, Indiana. So if we do have storms that form down there, they will have the potential to have the most overlapping ingredients. But yeah, we get a ton of mid-50s dew points up all the way to the, I'm forgetting, the Michigan border here, the Illinois-Michigan border. So especially for this area, this time of year, that is more than enough to get these storms going, especially with so much wind energy overspreading this area. So far, our ingredients check out. And now, to kind of sum all that up, I will show you our instability metric here. Let's get everything in frame. So we'll move this on. There's one. So you can see right here, as we work our way towards Thursday, areas where it turns blue is over 1,000 joules per kilogram. That is absolutely more than enough in an environment like this. So you can see that, again, don't take that exact corridor is going to be what it is, but just take from this, we have overlapping ingredients and the potential for a pretty significant severe event out ahead of us. So moving on, we're going to start off in the western U.S. So if you just clicked on this timestamp and you live out here, we're going to be going over your weather for the next couple of weeks, or just a general idea of it. So starting off tomorrow morning, see a lot of snow in the west central U.S., if you will. And then there's just repeated rounds of snow in some areas. I will say, as we get closer to the last week of the month, it does seem to quiet down. A lot of model guidance kind of shows that. But doesn't mean it's over. I mean, you have more that comes after that. We'll have potential in this area to drop the snow levels. So if you live in the eastern areas of the U.S. like me and you're watching this, that just means everything out there is elevation based. So if you live on a ridgetop, you almost always expect snow, and if you live in the valley, well, you could expect rain. But with cooler shots of air like this, we could expect the snow levels, the snow altitudes to drop some, so the valleys have more of a chance. That's what I mean by that. But just getting out here towards the end of the run here, I mean, nothing too crazy showing up. There's just a lot of activity in this area. The GFS agrees. We start off same time, and there's just repeated areas, although there's that kind of quiet phase. And we get into March here, there's still activity in this area. So very active stretch of weather in the western U.S. And the Euro Ensemble backs this up by showing a pretty unified area of just measurable snow in almost all places, except for central Washington. This is significant. This is continually showing up to not have much. So the reasons for that, I'm not going to pretend to understand. I don't live out here. I don't know the microclimates. I don't know any of that stuff. But just take from this, quite a lot of snow can be expected, and even in the valley areas, some measurable snow can be expected. That's what I want you to gain from that. So, you may have noticed at the beginning of this video that I said something about a major pattern shift. Well, we're going to go over that because it's what I'm talking about is in the eastern U.S. And what I mean by pattern shift is that we significantly trended to a snowstorm along the areas of the mid-Atlantic. I will go ahead and spoil it for you. The European does not show it this time. It hasn't the last like 2 times. And I have to say that the Euro has been struggling in the mid-range. The short range has been absolutely great. The mid-range, though, it's flip-flopping all over the place. The reason for that, no idea. We start this off tomorrow. And so here's that severe event. You can see these areas of snow here and then severe storms there. Just a very broad look at it. And then afterwards, we get towards February 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Here it is, and it kind of hits somewhat. We have a low offshore, but it's too far offshore. And the cold air is here, but there's not enough moisture. So it's close. The pattern's there, but it doesn't connect the dots exactly like you would want to see. But it still does get snow into areas of even like Virginia. So something to watch there. And then afterwards, that's likely a severe event, well warm enough. And this is the kind of thing we have to watch for with this pattern. We'll go over that later, but it's very supportive of storm systems that kind of cut across the country, bringing up warm, moist air from the Gulf. And then you get a look like this, where you got a line of storms to the south of a low with snow to the north. So very complex storm systems. This right here, start off March. This looks cold. You can see these dotted blue lines. This 540 line is the freezing line aloft. Is all the way down even south of my neck of the woods in upstate South Carolina. So this will likely be a cooler day to start off March. But that pattern gets replaced by another ridge flex in the south. So we get some sort of low pressure. Who knows where it's going to go afterwards. So focusing on the GFS here, starting off tomorrow morning, we got gets out of here. There is, and the Euro showed it too. I just forgot to mention it. For the Northeast states specifically, there is a storm system that kind of comes in. It's the same storm system that does all the severe weather, kind of expands some snow to the Northeast. So you guys could pick up a few inches of snow from that. Afterwards, look what we get. Here's the GFS. I know a lot of people hate on the GFS, including myself, but our other model guidance agrees on something like this. So that's why I'm not completely just hating on the GFS here. Starting off, this is February 22nd, right about noon. Look at this area of snow. This gets snow into areas even just a little bit north of the Raleigh-Durham area. Not to say that you're not going to get snow there, but look how cold it is. This 540 line's all the way down south of Macon, Georgia. So it's a pretty cold event. Surface low is much closer, and you have a extremely heavy band of snow setting up over the southern Delmarva here. So interesting, to say the least. And I mean, look at that. Huge surface low. This would be blizzard conditions. If this happens, this is not a forecast. Please don't screenshot this and do anything weird with it. That's not what I mean. Rolls up into the Northeast. I mean, this is a huge, huge high-impact storm system to watch. And the potential is there. The pattern supports something like this to happen. This is not insane, to say the least. So that happens. We have this other storm system. Even gets snow into areas as far south as West Virginia. And then after that, is there anything specific? Big cutting low pressure for the northern plains. Anything after? That's the last frame. So there's a few, but really just in the shorter range, which is great for us because the shorter range is the most reliable range. So here's the overall footprint for snow. This is the European ensemble, very reliable thing to look at. And you can see we have increased this snow in some of these areas of the mid-Atlantic. Northern Virginia, the Delmarva, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia here, even New Jersey. There are several inches of snow showing up on average. So I expect, I mean, we look at, say, the last run, the last 24 hours ago, the run looked like this. That is an obvious tick south. Just obvious. So we'll see where this goes by tomorrow, but I somewhat expect it to keep trending south. Areas in the Northeast could get upwards of even close to 10 inches. So something to watch there. That's the overall footprint. Now, if I show you something, it's probably going to change on me. It's not, thank goodness. So I show you something. This is what the GFS did between now and the next week. I mean, this is a lot of snow, to say the least. We have snow approaching, or this is above 2 inches in areas of New Jersey. So there is a lot of snow in this area. But this is not final. This is not a given. And I mean, I could show you the old reliable Euro as we're used to it. And I just clicked on the same thing. And I mean, it's something, but very, very, very little. So big change. The national blend of models. Let's pull this up to the end here. Let's go right about here. So it has it. It's a little bit further north than the European ensemble, although the national blend of models also lags behind a little bit. So I think in the upcoming runs, we'll see this start to take south. Very big change. So moving past that, not to focus too much on it, let's look at our AI guidance. So if you just clicked on this, this is where we go over all of our AI related stuff. So starting off with the European AI here, It covers that storm system, the severe storm system, and then let's see where we are. Gather ourselves. 22nd in the morning, it does something. It's a hit. Snow, obviously, a little bit further north than some of these model runs, and there's a mix in areas of, say, Virginia, the Delmarva, central Delmarva, that is. So it's a hit. It's not like the operational Euro from this morning where it didn't do much of anything. It has something. In fact, it has something pretty major. So our AI guidance is backing this up as well. It kind of looks just like the GFS. So that's interesting. Afterwards, here's what we've been consistently seeing as well on our AI guidance. I showed you this yesterday, the day before. We have some sort of, right at the end of these runs, about 10 days out, we have a surface low develop in the central areas of the US. Who knows where this is going to go, but it does have a mix associated with it in the northern areas already. So moving on from that, this is the AI GFS model starting off tomorrow morning. System, there's that system. And so it does this system, but it's very, very amplified and warm. So it rains a lot more as opposed to it snowing, but it just pushes that snow further to the north. It's not that it doesn't snow, trust me, you can see it right here. So our AI guidance, the GFS, both show it. The latest Canadian, I believe, showed it as well. I don't have that pulled up, but it did show it as far as I know. After that, let's get out to the end. So it does have this low pressure getting out closer to 10 days. It's a little bit faster with it. And it has snow in a lot of areas, even areas of, say, Nebraska and northern Kansas. So big storm system, could be severe weather down here. So here is what what am I looking at? The European AI Ensemble. This is what it shows for snowfall. Areas in this kind of purple shade where it turns from blue to purple, that is 6 inches. Look at how widespread these 6-inch totals are. It has 6 inches in central West Virginia, down through the Delmarva, the eastern half of Pennsylvania. You can name places all day, but it doesn't have any foot signals, 1 foot plus signals showing up, but quite a bit of snow. And this is supportive of all of the runs we just showed you. So moving on from that, what's driving all this? Well, we're going to take a broad look at this first, and then we'll zoom in a bit. So this is the European Ensemble. And this is just whether we're seeing troughing or ridging. So this is in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. This is kind of the layer that drives our storms. And areas you see blue, that is a cold air source. Areas you see red, that is warmer air. So this is a broad look. Obviously, the North American sector that we have on this website. So you can see this is starting out Friday morning, the 21st, 22nd. Do you see this right here? There's like a dislodgement of some sort of piece of energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere that will be driving this. This has changed a lot over the past couple runs. We can go back. I mean, you go back enough runs, it wasn't there. So it's trended to be here, and it's trended a little bit further west as well. So it moves from there and moves and kind of amplifies as it gets closer to the eastern seaboard. Really kind of deep, just right along and off the shore. So you're getting into the evening of the 22nd, morning of the 23rd. So our ensemble guidance backs this up very strongly for some sort of shot of cold air. Then we have a ridge kind of work its way back in, but look at a lot of areas of the U.S., the northern tier of the country, a lot of it is dealing with these blues. That would be cooler than average temperatures, more than likely. And after that, we do seem to ridge a good bit, but this is supportive of a very, very active southern stream where you just kind of have energy that kind of forms in the Pacific, rolls across the U.S., and if we have cold air that's close, that would lead me to believe, I know this is a very zoomed out map, but kind of areas right in here would be something you'd watch because you have cold air to the north and you have energy to the south, and somewhere in the middle is where things can go boom. We've seen that a few times this winter already. I don't know what I just clicked on, but yeah. So we take that. Now we're going to take a slightly more zoomed in look and just look at a few frames here. This is the same product, just zoomed in. Here's that piece of energy. Look at what it does. This is the afternoon of February 22nd. I mean, it's very clearly centered over these areas. And you would look downstream from the center of this. So that would mean right in here for surface low development. That's one reason I think that the European, with its low out here, is a little bit odd. Just a little bit out of place. And a little bit kind of out on an island with its idea of that. But hey, quite the trend there. And it moves off. So Temperature wise, this is starting off tomorrow morning as well. You can see these blues, that indicates below average temperatures, reds equal above average temperatures. You can see those blues, even like pinks, drop down from Canada pretty aggressively as we get to the 21st, 22nd. Then look what happens. There's some sort of connection between areas of Canada and the lower 48. Look at this. This is getting to the morning of the 23rd, afternoon of the 22nd, morning of the 23rd. Look at these temperatures. So we have widespread, 5 to maybe as much as 10 degrees below average across much of the areas of the eastern US. And if you look in the areas where the storm might be, they're also there too. So very much supportive here of this storm system that we're seeing right now. It's very much backed up by our ensemble guidance. Afterwards, ridge starts to build in, so we see these warmer than average temperatures, cooler out west still, and the end run looks like this. So again, we kind of have this cooler air situated to the north. So anywhere in the middle, you'd look for something to happen. And I think we'll continue to have an active pattern as we make our way into March. There's nothing about this that shows that as soon as we hit March that everything's going to quiet down. Absolutely not. May I eat my words in a couple of weeks? Yeah, it's possible. But based off of this, I don't think that we're going to just magically quiet down as soon as we get to March. Basically all I'm saying. So I'm going to show you this. This is starting off tomorrow, Thursday, sorry, afternoon. So you can see we have a surface low right there. The reason I'm showing you this is just kind of to cover Thursday's event very, very, very briefly. But what you're looking at here is the very upper levels of the atmosphere, many miles above your head. This is the wind speed in this layer. So I don't want you to pay attention to what the actual values are. I just want you to pay attention to where they are. So you can see these little arrows attached to the lines. That's pointing in the way the wind is going. So this wind is just going from the Baja California region all the way out to the eastern seaboard. And it's very strong. So you can see the surface low and there's wind energy associated with it. Whatever. We already covered that. Afterwards, we get into the 20th, 21st, 22nd. Look at it. Something happens here. This jet stream buckles a bit. You have a ridge out west and then this distinct trough pattern in the east. And this is what drives some sort of surface low. And there it is right there. 1,009 millibars. And it kind of goes away quickly based off of this. But yeah, getting into the evening of the 22nd, we have this trough here. And if you follow the wind back upstream, say you follow this air, it comes from up here where it's been cold consistently for the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. It all makes logical sense to me. After that, we get a ridge build in, and everything goes zonal. So there's nothing specific about this that indicates anything too crazy. But one thing I do want to kind of point out, we have a northern stream kind of going like this. We also have a relatively active southern stream. Let's draw that line again. Kind of going like this. So if we have moisture down here and we have cold air up here, could something happen in here? Absolutely. Could it be a negligible pattern where nothing happens and we have just high pressure dominating? Yes. But this is also out no man's land, and this is bound to change. So all that to say, we'll finish this video off right here. So thank you guys for watching. We'll make these videos every day and go over. My goal is to keep you guys as informed as I can with all of this. This is very active stretch of weather we're entering now, and we will continue to see over the next couple of weeks. I don't think March, at least the beginning parts of March, are going to be a whole lot different. We have very dynamic weather. I mean, we have snow, then we're going to have severe weather, and some of the same areas. We have red flag warnings to winter storm related things in Nebraska. Very dynamic weather right now. So please stay safe and enjoy this snow in the north central U.S. I hope you guys do. By the time I make tomorrow morning's video, it will have been ongoing for several hours and be starting to kind of wrap up a little bit. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Please heed your warnings as always. And I also, if you're here at this point in the video, I do want to kind of give a shout out, if you will, to areas of the panhandle of Oklahoma. Specifically, because this is what I saw, Beaver County, Oklahoma. You guys, there was a fire out in this region. We've had red flag warnings in this area, and there was a fire out here. I was watching a live stream from Brandon Kopic, Storm Chaser, and it was terrible. It looked terrible. Very, very windy conditions. These fires spread crazy fast. So please keep people in these central areas of the U.S. in your prayers when it comes to all these fires. This is fire is dangerous. Fire is destructive. So as always, just keep them in your prayers. And if you have any prayer requests, by the way, feel free to drop those in the comments. I always read the comments. I'm not the best about responding to them, but I always do see them and read them. So if you have anything you'd like me to pray about or pray over, please put those in the comments down below. All that being said, thank you guys for watching. Tune in tomorrow morning, and we'll go over all the latest then. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.